And let's record and welcome to another installment. I didn't put out the last one because I was having some difficulties. So yes, welcome to another video talking about sports today. Actually, it's halftime at the Alabama game. College football has just become so... It's fun when it's the playoffs, but man, sometimes it's just boring, especially the SEC lately. I think its peak was probably like 4, 5, 6 years ago. But anyway, I want to touch on the biggest news, obviously, in football is Aaron Rodgers being out. Packers host the Saints this weekend. And I think I think Brett Hundley is going to surprise a lot of people, including myself. I was talking to, not a colleague, I don't know what you want to call him, a guy I follow on Twitter. I guess we could say maybe acquaintances. Anyway, and I was telling him how I panicked. First, as soon as I saw that, I was like, okay, he's done. Season's over. Throwing arm, blah, blah, blah. You know, it's like, whatever, let's Packers pack your things and, you know, just look forward to next season. It's over. Then I was like, okay, let the fanboy in me, let my, let that side simmer down a little bit. Let me see because football's a long season, especially NFL. It's a really long season, the bye weeks, and then it's a 16, 17 week season. And with collarbones, it usually sometimes it heals on its own. Sometimes this go around, in the case of Aaron Rodgers, it didn't. It did not. He's going to have surgery. Or he did, excuse me. And I was like, maybe 8-ish weeks, 10-ish weeks at the most. 12, I mean, that's probably just being really, really conservative. And so I was like, okay, well, let me look at the Lions and the Vikings schedule, because of course it's not just one side of things, right? Yeah, as a fan of a team, you're just going to look at the downside of that team and what's going to happen with your team, right? With the team you root for. So I was like, okay, let me look at the Lions and the Vikings. What does their schedule look like? And they both have they're not ridiculous away games. They're not ridiculously hard away games. I think they both visit Tampa, because I believe Tampa goes to the Buccaneers, go to Green Bay, but I think the Vikings and the Lions are visiting Tampa Bay as an away game. And then I think they both have Baltimore away. I know the Lions, I believe, have to go to Washington. It's either the Vikings or the Lions, but the point being is that they both have 3 pretty tough away games, and that's still excluding like going to Chicago and going to Green Bay and, you know, the home games within division as well. But they still have 3 pretty tough games outside the division. Now, of course, you just want to win your division games, right? That's the most important. And I was looking, I was okay, well, the way the Vikings have looked, the Lions, excuse me, which has been an inconsistent battle there in Detroit, is like, okay, it gives you a little hope. And then you look at the Vikings, and then you're like, well, they're on Case Keenum. Sure, he's played well, but how long is he really going to... You know, you don't know when Bridgewater's coming back. You don't know the status with Bradford. So you're like, okay, I'm starting to like my chances. Like, as a Packer fan, you're like, okay, not all hope is lost. Now, you go back to the Packers, right? You look at that side, and then you go, okay, well, the Packers have to take care of business. And, excuse me, no better way, I think, at home against a Saints defense that, yeah, it's getting a little bit better, but their secondary is still their weak spot. So Brett Hundley's gonna have to do some throwing, right? Obviously, I don't think they're gonna win the game from handing it off to Aaron Jones and Ty Montgomery. I think the Saints have a top 10 or top 15, top 10 running defense. They don't allow much on the ground, but yeah, Brett Hundley's is gonna have to come up big against the Saints and not just put everything on his shoulders. The defense is gonna have to step up. I think they're a little dinked up. Kevin King, I believe, is supposed to be coming back. Mike Daniels, I think, should be good. But that defense is going to have to create some turnovers if they're going to have a chance at winning either of these two games that are at home, right? Because then you have the Lions coming in and a wounded Lions team with a Stafford, who's I thought played pretty well. The last game against the Saints, I think he threw 2 or 3 picks. But I think these are going to be, they're 2 winnable games, right? That's the important part. It's not like you're having a top 10 or like a top 10, top 5 defense coming in and throwing Brett Hundley in, to the Lions den by himself. I think 2 very winnable games. Now, I did see some sources, I think it was ESPN or something, saying that Aaron Rodgers, they're hoping for it just being 8 weeks. So if that's the case, I think the best case scenario, right, it could be, of course, you're like, well, 8-0. No. Calm down, it's not going to be 8-0. Not 6-2. The best case scenario, and what I'm sure everybody in Green Bay is hoping for, it's like a 4-4. I don't remember quite their schedule, but a 5-3. Hell, even like a 3-5 would be good, right? That way you're sitting at 7-7, which is 500, and then right. This is all theoretical. Like this is all pointless if Aaron Rodgers doesn't come back. Which, part of me, as a Packer fan, is like, okay, well, yeah, you don't want to rush it, right? You don't want to rush your franchise quarterback. But the other part of me is like, this is a win now league. Right? Like, how I don't know, like, how many years do you have left with Jordy? A lot of people think he's gonna be like a Donald Driver. I don't know, right? Like, he's been getting injured the past couple of years. Last year in the playoffs versus the Giants. I think the year before that was the ACL. It's like, is he really gonna be an elite wide receiver for another 3-4 years? Your tight end situation, Martellus hasn't looked great, but I think he'll come around. And he's also in his, I think, early 30s. Right? And then Devontae Adams is, of course, heading into his contract here, who's going to be demanding a lot of money. Jesus, my sister's calling me. Sorry about that. Jesus Christ. Sorry. So, of course, how many years do you have left with this Packer offense? And the defense isn't... the quote-unquote playmakers, Did I say claymakers? Playmakers. Clay Matthews, who's one of the top 3 best defenders they have. I think his best years are behind him. Sure, he's still efficient and he still makes big plays, but he's not Clay Matthews of 4 years ago. So, it's a win-now league. I'm torn, right? As a Packer fan, I don't know. You of course want your quarterback to be there long-term, but if he's good to go, why wait around? Why? Just don't be overly conservative, right? Oh, risk of re-injury. Yeah, that's every game. He can come back in 28 weeks, 49 weeks. You're still going to risk injury, right? Like, heading into the Vikings games, the Viking game when he got hurt, and that was risking injury, right? So, overly being cautious, I'm not with. Now, if the situation, the circumstances are in his favor, like the Packers go in 8 weeks or they're out of playoff contention, sure, whatever. It's over. Don't come back. But if they're right there in the mix, which I believe is going to be a 9-7, it's going to take a team just 9 games to win that division the way things are shaking up. I don't know. But as a Packer fan, I believe in Brett Hundley. I think no better situation for him these next 2 weeks than the Saints coming into town, the Lions coming into town, and then a bye week, which is going to be even more beneficial for him and get guys healthier, right? So that's going to be that. I think Brett Brett Hundley, Packer Nation should not panic. We've been spoiled, right? Excuse me, with going for like 20 years from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers. That I mean, Brett Hundley took. I mean, he's been under Aaron Rodgers' wing, so you can't really. You know, it's not like he's been just lollygagging, not paying attention. He had some throws. Look, he had some throws against Minnesota that he looked really good. There was a play where it literally looked like the Jared Cook play in the playoffs versus the Cowboys. And then he had another nice, I think it was a back shoulder to Jordy. And then that touchdown to Devontae, eyes downfield the entire time. And he looked good. So, yeah, I think the Packers are going to be, I mean, being optimistic here, I think they can go 2-0. I mean, probably, I don't want to say they will go 2-0. I'm not going to be jinxing them, but no better situation for Packer Nation. What do you guys think? If you're a Packers fan, if you're a football fan, if you hate the Packers, let me know. Comment. And if you enjoy me rambling on for about more than 10 minutes, subscribe. I'm trying to do these weekly, maybe a little bit more often, because I do follow other sports and I love to talk about sports. So sports. I like to talk about sports. And I would love to hear you guys' input. Yeah. So let me know what you guys think. Thank you guys for watching. Take care.